Be me, Shannon, HR team lead, spent years watching toxic workplace dynamics play out. Men always dominating conversations, always making it about themselves. Today's the day I start implementing my new workplace culture initiative. Sitting in my office Monday morning, reviewing the policy draft I've been perfecting for weeks. This is going to create such a healthier environment for everyone, especially the women who've been sidelined for too long. Send out the company-wide email at 9 a.m. sharp. New workplace inclusivity guidelines. Effective immediately. Feeling proud as I hit send. These guidelines are going to level the playing field. No more sports talk that excludes people who don't follow sports. No more fantasy leagues that create insider groups. No more gym discussions that make people feel bad about their bodies. No more friendly competition that's really just aggressive masculinity. This is about creating space for everyone to participate equally. Within 20 minutes, my inbox is flooded. Mostly men, of course. They're confused about the policy. They want clarification. I know what this really is. Resistance to change. Schedule a department meeting for that afternoon. 3 p.m., conference room B, packed with people. Mostly male employees. Arms crossed, looking annoyed. Some women scattered throughout, looking uncomfortable. I start my presentation about creating inclusive environments. Not even 5 minutes in, Samuel from engineering interrupts. So we literally can't talk about the game last night? Here we go. Samuel, the policy is clear. Sports discussions create exclusionary dynamics. That makes people who don't follow sports feel left out of workplace bonding. He's getting red in the face. Shannon, this is ridiculous. People talk about TV shows too. Are we banning that? I maintain my professional composure. TV shows don't have the same historical association with masculine dominance in workplace culture. Can see several men exchanging looks. David from sales speaks up, voice already tense. What about the fantasy football league? We've been running that for 3 years. That needs to end. It creates an in-group that excludes others. But people can join if they want. It's open to everyone. David, the barrier to entry excludes people who don't follow football. It's not truly inclusive. The room is getting heated now. Can feel the tension rising. Jason from product management stands up. Shannon, can I be direct with you? Nod, though I already know he's going to complain. This is complete overreach. You're banning normal human conversation. We're not allowing people to bond over shared interests anymore. Take a deep breath. Stay professional. Jason, I understand change is difficult, but these shared interests you mention are specifically masculine-coded activities. They've dominated workplace culture for too long. We need to make room for other types of bonding. Ryan from IT, usually quiet, actually raises his voice. Other types? Like what, Shannon? What are we supposed to talk about? Your policy bans sports, fitness, competition. That's how a lot of us connect. I can hear the anger in his voice, but I stand firm. Perhaps that's part of the problem, Ryan. Maybe we should examine why those are the default modes of connection. There are plenty of other topics. Books, movies, food, travel. Samuel interrupts again. Louder this time. But you just said TV was fine and sports wasn't. Make it make sense. The meeting goes on for 90 minutes. Multiple men taking turns expressing their frustration. Some of them are genuinely angry. Voices raised. Tyler from operations goes on a 10-minute speech about how this is controlling, about how workplace friendships are important, about how I'm destroying morale. I listen, take notes, but I'm not backing down. This is exactly the kind of resistance women face when they try to change systems. They're used to dominating the culture, and now they're upset about losing that. End the meeting by reiterating the policy stance. I understand you're frustrated. Change is always difficult. But this is about creating equity. The policy remains in effect. Walk out feeling drained but resolute. This is what doing the right thing feels like. It's not supposed to be comfortable. Over the next few days, I notice the office is quieter. Men talking in hushed tones, conversations stopping when I walk by. Honestly, this is fine. Maybe they're finally learning to be mindful of their discussions. Maybe they're finding new ways to connect. This is progress. Week 2, I'm in the kitchen making coffee. Over here, 2 guys from engineering talking. Yeah, check the channel when you get back to your desk. They see me and immediately stop talking. Go back to discussing a project in the most corporate language possible. Interesting. Probably nothing. Friday of week 2, another scheduled meeting. This time, specifically requested by several male employees. Formal discussion of HR policy concerns, according to the calendar invite. Here we go again. Conference room A this time. Even more people. Samuel leads off, and he's clearly prepared notes. Shannon, we've tried to give this policy a fair chance. It's not working. People are miserable. You're policing normal conversation. He's got a whole list of examples. Apparently, I shut down a discussion about hiking last week. It turned into them comparing workout routines, which is gym talk. So yes. Apparently, I sent a warning email about March Madness brackets. Literally a competition league, clearly against policy. David from sales is even angrier than last time. Shannon, do you understand how ridiculous this has become? Yesterday, I mentioned I went for a run and you CC'd my manager about policy compliance. Keep my voice level. David, you were specifically discussing your running pace and trying to compare it with other employees. That's competitive fitness discussion. He looks like he wants to scream. It was a 2-sentence conversation. Jason stands up again, and this time he's got at least 6 other guys nodding along. We've tried to be patient. We've tried to understand your perspective. But this isn't about inclusion, Shannon. This is about control. You're deciding what types of human connection are acceptable. That's not creating inclusion. That's creating resentment. I can see where this is going. Classic derailment tactic. Make it about me instead of about the systemic issues. Jason, I hear that you're frustrated. But workplace culture doesn't change without discomfort. The fact that you're experiencing this resistance is actually proof that the change is necessary. You're used to a certain type of environment, one that centered your interests and your way of bonding. Now that's being challenged. And yes, that's uncomfortable. Tyler from operations literally laughs, actually laughs out loud. Shannon, listen to yourself. You're so stuck in this framework that you can't even hear what we're saying. We're not upset about being challenged. We're upset about being controlled. The meeting goes on for 2 hours this time. Voices getting louder. Ryan from IT at one point says, "This is the most frustrating conversation I've had in my entire career. Multiple men trying to explain why the policy is overreach, why it's infantilizing, why it's destroying team cohesion. I keep reframing, trying to get them to see the bigger picture. They're not listening. They're too caught up in their own discomfort to see the harm their previous behavior caused." One of the younger developers, Kevin, tries a different approach. Shannon, has any woman in the office complained about sports talk or fantasy leagues? Because I've talked to several of the women on my team, and they think this is extreme too. This is the problem right here. Internalized patriarchy. Women defending systems that harm them because they've adapted to survive in them. Kevin, the absence of complaints doesn't mean the absence of harm. Many people don't feel comfortable speaking up about exclusionary behavior. That's why leadership has to be proactive. Meeting ends with nothing resolved. They're angry. I'm holding the line. This is my job, to make hard decisions that people don't like, but that create better workplaces. Week 3. Things are definitely weird. The office feels divided. Men barely talk in common areas. Lots of people on their phones. Lots of quick conversations that end when I approach. Whatever. They'll adjust. Thursday afternoon, I'm walking past a cluster of desks. Hear someone say, "Did you see what Brandon posted in?" Immediate silence when they see me. The guy turns back to his computer really quickly. I notice he's got Slack open, but minimizes it. Mental note made. That evening I'm working late. Most people have left. I notice one of the developers forgot to lock his screen. It's against policy, so I go to lock it for him. But then I see it. Slack is open, but not to our company workspace. It's a different workspace, something called the break room. My stomach drops. I shouldn't read it, but I need to understand what's happening. Scroll up. It's all of them. Samuel, David, Jason, Tyler, Ryan, Kevin, dozens of other male employees. They've created an entire separate Slack workspace, and they're posting everything I banned. Sports scores, game discussions, fantasy league updates, gym progress photos. Friendly competition about literally everything. There's a channel called Weekend Warrior that's all about hiking and biking and working out. There's a channel called The League that's clearly for fantasy football. There's a channel called Playoffs Talk. There's even a channel called Friendly Competition, where they're running some kind of ongoing trivia thing. I'm scrolling faster now. There are hundreds of messages. They've been using this for weeks, since right after my first policy meeting. My face is getting hot. But then, I see something worse. There's a channel called Work Venting. I click it. It's full of messages about me. Shannon shut down lunch conversation again today. Got another email from Shannon about policy compliance, because I mentioned the gym. This is absolutely insane. How long do we have to deal with this? I'm stunned. Completely stunned. They've built an entire secret community, specifically to get around my policies. They've literally recreated exactly what I was trying to stop. Just hidden it from view. Sit down at my desk, mind racing. They've completely undermined everything. All my work to create an inclusive environment. And they just made a secret club. The exact thing I was trying to prevent. Exclusive, male-dominated, built around all the things that create toxic culture. Spend the weekend thinking about this, trying to understand how they could be so resistant, how they could miss the point so completely. I was trying to help everyone, and they responded by going behind my back. Monday morning, I call another meeting. Send the invite to all the names I saw in that Slack workspace. Mark it as mandatory. Subject line, urgent. Workplace policy violation. Conference room A, again. They file in looking confused. Some of them looking nervous. Good, they should be nervous. Wait until everyone's seated. Then I just say it. I know about the break room. You could hear a pin drop. Several guys go pale. Samuel closes his eyes like he's in pain. David's jaw clenches. I know you've created a secret Slack workspace to continue exactly the behaviors I banned. I know you've been using it for weeks. I know there are fantasy leagues, sports discussions, fitness competitions, all of it. My voice is shaking a little, but I push through. I am absolutely stunned that this is how you chose to respond to workplace policy. Instead of engaging with the purpose behind it, you just hid your behavior. Do you understand how that looks? Silence for a long moment. Then Samuel speaks, and his voice is ice cold. Shannon, do you understand that you pushed us to this? You banned normal human interaction. What did you think was going to happen? Jason jumps in, and he's not even trying to hide his anger anymore. We tried to talk to you. Multiple times. Hours of conversations. You wouldn't listen. You wouldn't budge. You wouldn't even acknowledge our concerns as valid. So yes, we created our own space. Because you made it impossible to be ourselves at work. Tyler is shaking his head. And the fact that you're framing this as us doing something wrong, that's exactly the problem. We're not violating any actual policy. We're not harassing anyone. We're not doing anything illegal. We're just talking to each other. Outside of work systems. On our own time. Feel my face getting hot. It's during work hours. I saw timestamps from during the workday. Ryan leans forward. Shannon, we're on our phones during work hours. That's not against policy, unless it affects our productivity. And our productivity is fine. Actually, it's probably better because we're not miserable anymore. Kevin, the younger developer, actually looks sad. Shannon, I really tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. I really tried to understand where you were coming from. But you have to see that this, he gestures around the room, this is a disaster of your own making. You can't control how people bond with each other. And the fact that you're mad we found a way around your control just proves how much this was never about inclusion. The words hit, but they're wrong. They have to be wrong. You don't understand. The entire point was to create space for people who were being excluded. David cuts me off. Who? Who was being excluded? Name one person who complained. Samuel backs him up. We've asked you this before. You never have an answer. Because this isn't about protecting anyone. This is about enforcing your worldview. The meeting devolves from there. Voices getting louder. Multiple people talking over each other. They're accusing me of overreach, of power tripping, of creating division. I'm trying to explain about systemic patterns, about invisible exclusion, about proactive culture change. We're talking in circles. No one is listening to anyone. Finally, I just end it. The policy stands. And I'll be recommending that private workplace-related chat groups be formalized under company oversight. The room erupts. Are you kidding me right now? You can't regulate our private conversations. This is absolutely unhinged. Stand up and walk out. Let them yell. I need to talk to my manager about this. Spend the next week trying to get support from leadership. My manager, Robert, listens to my concerns. But he's frustratingly non-committal. Shannon, I understand your goals, but the feedback has been significant. I've had multiple employees reach out to me directly. Senior people, good performers. They're really unhappy. Try to explain the bigger picture. He nods, but I can tell he's not really getting it. Let me think about next steps. In the meantime, maybe ease up on enforcement a little? Absolutely not. Week 4. I notice they're not even hiding it anymore. Guys talking openly in the kitchen about football, fantasy league discussions happening at lunch tables. When I walk by, they don't stop. They just look at me, challenging me to say something, send out reminder emails about policy. Most of them get ignored. Send individual warnings. Get responses that are technically professional but clearly annoyed. Find out there's not just the Slack workspace. There are also multiple group chats. WhatsApp, text message groups, even a Discord server apparently. They've created an entire shadow network. And more people are joining. Even some of the women in the office have apparently been added to some of the channels. I request another meeting. this time with just the core group I saw in that first Slack. Samuel, David, Jason, Tyler, Ryan. Figure if I can get through to the ringleaders, maybe this stops. We meet in a small conference room. Wednesday afternoon. I've prepared what I want to say, trying to approach this from a place of understanding. Look, I know we've had our disagreements. Samuel holds up his hand. Shannon, before you start, we need to tell you something. We've talked to Robert, as a group. We've formally documented our concerns about your policies. We've requested a review of your decisions. My stomach sinks. Jason continues. We've also talked to legal, just to make sure we're not violating anything with our private chats. We're not. As long as we're not discussing confidential company information or engaging in harassment, we can talk about whatever we want on our own platforms. Tyler adds, and we've kept screenshots of everything. All our attempts to communicate with you. Your responses, the escalation. Just in case this becomes a formal issue. Feel blindsided. They've been coordinating against me, treating me like I'm the problem. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This aggressive, competitive approach to conflict. Ryan interrupts, and his voice is hard. No, don't do that. Don't make this about gender or masculinity or whatever framework you're using. This is about you implementing a bad policy, refusing feedback, and then being shocked when people pushed back. That's not toxic masculinity. That's consequences. David leans back in his chair. We gave you so many chances, Shannon. So many conversations. You didn't listen to a single thing we said. You just kept insisting you were right, and we were just resistant to change. Well, now we've changed. We've changed our approach. We handle our bonding outside your reach. And honestly, it's better this way. We don't have to deal with your constant monitoring. Try to regain control of the conversation. You realize this is creating a divided workplace. Samuel shakes his head. You created the divided workplace. We just adapted to it. And now you're mad that your control doesn't extend as far as you wanted. The meeting goes on for another hour. It's brutal. They take turns explaining exactly how frustrated they are, how demeaning the policy feels, how checked out they've become from the official workplace culture, how they're just doing their jobs and saving their actual engagement for the spaces I can't touch. Kevin joins halfway through, apologetic about being late. He's the most diplomatic, tries to find middle ground. Shannon, is there any version of this where you could scale back some of the restrictions? Like, maybe keep the harassment policies strong, but allow casual conversation? Shake my head. The casual conversation is where the exclusion happens, Kevin. That's the whole point. He looks defeated. Then I don't know what to tell you. This isn't sustainable. Leave that meeting feeling shaken, but also more convinced than ever. Their coordinated response proves how entrenched these patterns are. They're literally organizing to protect their ability to dominate workplace culture. This is exactly what resistance to change looks like. Week 5, Robert calls me into his office. Shannon, we need to talk about the feedback I've been getting. Oh no, I've had 12 formal complaints about the workplace culture policy. I've had multiple people tell me they're considering leaving. And I've noticed the secret chat situation, which I'm not thrilled about. But I also understand why it happened. Start to defend my position. He holds up a hand. I'm not asking you to completely reverse the policy, but I need you to revise it. Make it more focused on actual harassment and discrimination. Pull back on the stuff about sports talk and casual competition. Feel my heart rate spike. Robert, that defeats the entire purpose. Shannon, his voice is firm. This is not a request. The current policy is harming morale and productivity. Revise it by end of week, or I'll revise it myself. Walk out in a daze. This is completely backwards. I'm being punished for trying to create equity. The men complain, and suddenly I have to back down. This is exactly how patriarchy maintains itself. Spend the next few days barely sleeping, looking at the policy, trying to figure out what to do. Every change feels like a betrayal. But I also need to keep my job. Friday afternoon, I submit a revised policy. It's barely different. I removed the specific ban on sports talk, but added language about monitoring exclusionary conversation patterns. I removed the explicit fantasy league ban, but added policy about unofficial workplace competitions requiring HR oversight. It's the same thing, just worded more carefully. The male employees see right through it. Monday morning, my inbox is full. Angry emails about how the revision isn't a revision at all. Another meeting request from the group. This time they want Robert there too. Tuesday, conference room A again. Feels like we're here every week now. Robert, me, and the same core group of guys. Plus a few more this time. Samuel leads off, looking directly at Robert. The revised policy is the same policy. Shannon just moved words around. Slides a comparison document across the table. Someone actually made a detailed breakdown showing how nothing substantive changed. Robert reads it, and I can see his jaw tighten. He looks at me. Shannon, we talked about this. Try to explain my reasoning. Why the oversight clauses are necessary. Why monitoring is important. Robert is shaking his head before I finish. This isn't what we discussed. This is exactly what I asked you not to do. The guys in the room are watching this play out, some of them looking satisfied, some looking uncomfortable. Jason speaks up. Robert, with all due respect, I don't think Shannon is capable of implementing a reasonable policy here. She's ideologically committed to a position that the entire team has rejected. Maybe this needs to be kicked up to senior leadership. Robert sighs. I'll talk to them. In the meantime, Shannon, consider the enforcement of these policies suspended pending review. Feel like the floor just dropped out. Suspended. He's suspending my policy, in front of them, undermining my authority completely. After the meeting, Robert pulls me aside. Shannon, you need to understand what's happening here. You're losing the team. You're losing credibility. You need to find a way to work with people, not against them. Want to scream. Want to explain how he's enabling exactly the dynamics I was trying to stop, but I just nod. Say, I understand. I don't understand. That week, I watch it all fall apart. The guys openly talking about sports again, fantasy league discussions at lunch. Someone sets up a March Madness bracket in the kitchen. Gym talk everywhere. Friendly competitions about everything from code efficiency to who can solve a puzzle fastest. And the worst part, people seem happier. The office feels more energetic. I hear laughter again, see people clustered around desks chatting. The women in the office are participating too, joining conversations, joining the bracket pool, talking about their own workouts. It's like my policy never existed, except it did, and they all remember. And now when they see me, there's this look. Not respect, not friendliness. Distance. The secret Slack workspace is still active. I know because I've seen people reference it. Check the channel later. Did you see what was posted this morning? They're not even hiding it from me anymore. It's just part of the culture now. The official workplace and the shadow workplace. And I'm only welcome in one of them. Week 7. Senior leadership announces a company-wide culture review. They're bringing in an outside consultant. Everyone has to do interviews and surveys. It's humiliating. I know this is because of my policy. Because of the complaints. Do my interview with the consultant. A woman named Rebecca. Explain my reasoning, my goals, what I was trying to accomplish. She listens, takes notes, asks clarifying questions. I think maybe she gets it. Maybe she'll see what I was trying to do. 2 weeks later, the report comes out. It's devastating. While HR's goals of creating inclusive culture are laudable, the implementation created division rather than unity. Employees across gender lines reported feeling micromanaged and distrusted. The policy failed to distinguish between harmful behavior and normal social bonding. Recommends significant revision with focus on addressing specific harassment rather than broad behavioral control. There's a whole section about the secret channels. The creation of unofficial communication channels, while concerning from an oversight perspective, represents a reasonable response to policies employees experienced as overreaching. Rather than punishing this behavior, leadership should examine what drove employees to feel they needed private spaces. I want to throw my laptop across the room. This is exactly backwards. They're validating the resistance, treating my attempts at structural change as the problem. Robert calls me in again. Shannon, based on this report, we're going to need to completely rewrite the workplace culture policy. I'll be taking the lead on that. I'd like your input, but the final decisions will be mine. It's a demotion in everything but name. I'm being removed from the thing I spent months building. I also need to be direct with you about something. Oh God. Your approach to this has created trust issues with a significant portion of the team. You're going to need to work on rebuilding those relationships. I know that's not fair, given that you were trying to do what you thought was right. But impact matters more than intent. That phrase, the one I've used so many times in harassment trainings, now being used against me. The new policy comes out 2 weeks later. It's everything I didn't want. Focuses only on specific, documented harassment. Explicitly allows casual, social conversation on any topic. Removes all the oversight provisions. Mentions sports and fitness discussions as examples of normal workplace bonding. It's a complete reversal. The guys celebrate. Don't even try to hide it. Someone brings in beer on Friday. There's a bracket challenge on the TV in the break room. Fantasy league draft happening in a conference room during lunch. It's like I never changed anything at all. Except now, they know they won. Samuel actually approaches me in the kitchen one day. I'm making coffee. He's getting water. Hey Shannon, No hard feelings about all this. He sounds genuine. Maybe even a little apologetic, but also completely clueless. Sure, Samuel. No hard feelings. What else can I say? He smiles, relieved. Cool. I know you were trying to do a good thing. Just got a little carried away, you know? Got carried away. Like I was overzealous. Like I was the problem. Nod and smile. He walks away feeling good about the interaction. I stand there holding my coffee mug feeling hollow. The secret Slack is still active. Probably always will be now. They've learned they can just root around obstacles. They've learned that if they push back hard enough, in enough numbers, they win. And they're right. They did win. Try to talk to some of the other women in HR, hoping for solidarity, for understanding. But they're weird about it, sympathetic but distant. One of them, Jill, is actually pretty direct. Shannon, I think your heart was in the right place, but that was too much. I talk about sports. I'm in a fantasy league. You would have banned me from that too. Try to explain the difference. She's not buying it. Another one, Patricia, is gentler. Maybe this is just a learning experience. About picking your battles? Don't want to hear it. Don't want to be told I should have compromised. I was right. The fact that it didn't work doesn't mean I was wrong. Months pass. The office returns to exactly how it was before, maybe worse. Because now they're emboldened. Sports talk everywhere. Competition, everything. Gym discussions, weekend warrior stuff, all of it. And I'm just here, doing my job, processing paperwork, sitting in meetings, pretending everything is fine. Still see references to the secret channels. They never went away. Why would they? They learned they could operate in parallel. Learned they could just ignore structures they don't like and face no real consequences. Sometimes I think about trying again, implementing something smaller, more targeted. But I know how it would go. They're watching for it now, waiting to see if I'll overstep again, ready to push back immediately. Robert told me I need to rebuild trust. But how do you do that with people who fundamentally disagree with you about what the problem is? They think I was being controlling. I think they were protecting their privilege. There's no bridge across that gap. Sit in my office some days and just think about how it all played out. I had authority. I had a plan. I had good intentions. And they just outmaneuvered me by doing exactly the thing I was trying to prevent. Just doing it where I couldn't see. They created their own space, their own culture, their own rules. And when I tried to stop them, they escalated until I was the one who got shut down. The worst part is everyone acts like this is resolved, like we found a balance, like this is a happy ending where both sides compromised. But I didn't compromise. I lost. And they won't even let me name it as losing. They want me to smile and pretend this was all a learning experience. Kevin stopped by my office last week, asked if I wanted to join the bracket pool for the tournament, meant it as an olive branch, probably. Thought he was being nice, including me. No thanks, Kevin. He looked confused. Oh, okay. Well, it's open if you change your mind. He doesn't get it. None of them do. They think this is all fine now. They think we're all moving forward together. But I see what they don't, or what they refuse to see. The patterns that keep replicating. The dynamics that keep centering them. The way the workplace still revolves around their interests. Their bonding styles. Their culture. And now I can't even talk about it. Can't point it out. Can't try to change it. Because I'm the one who got carried away. The one who created division. The one who needs to rebuild trust. Still believe I was right. Still believe the policy was necessary. Still believe they reacted the way they did because it threatened their dominance. And still believe that their victory just reinforces everything wrong with workplace culture. But I also know I can't say any of that. Can't act on it. Can't try again. Because I lost. And they made sure I know it. So I sit in my office, do my diminished job, watch them celebrate their fantasy leagues and their bracket pools and their gym competitions. Watch the workplace culture center their interests like it always has. Watch women adapt and participate because that's what you have to do to survive. And I don't say anything. Because what would be the point? They're not going to listen. They already proved that. Proved they can just create secret channels and private chats and shadow networks. Proved they can coordinate and push back and escalate until they get what they want. Proved that if enough of them complain loud enough, leadership will cave. And I'm supposed to learn from this. Supposed to grow. Supposed to understand that I was wrong. Supposed to be grateful for the feedback. But I don't feel grateful. I feel angry and tired and completely certain that nothing I tried to say got through to anyone.